Hello everyone, this is Sam Overton. Thank you for joining me today. Like every other day, we're going over JavaScript Basics. We're on day 6. We got some more exciting stuff to learn and to talk about. I'm going to again start my Pomodoro. It's going to be set at 30 minutes. I'm only going to do 15 minutes of the Pomodoro just to keep these videos shorter. But I hope everyone enjoy, and let's get started. So first thing we have to do is start my Pomodoro cycle, and then we are on shift, and I know a lot of you see that I have like a lot of those lessons done. I've gone through a lot of these in the past. I'm just redoing them just to like really help out some beginners, and then also to refresh myself, make sure I'm able to I truly understand it, and I can explain it as well. So right now we are going through manipulating arrays with shift. So we saw that on the last time that pop always removes the last element of an array. What if you want to remove the first element? Well, that's where dot shift comes in. It works just like pop, except it removes the first element instead of the last. So it says use the shift function to remove the first item from my array, assigning the shift off value to remove from my array. Let me say that again. Use the shift function to remove the first item from my array. So we want to remove the first item of my array, assigning the shift off value to remove from my array. So we want to assign we want to assign this array to this value. To this variable. So in order to do that, we have to give it an assignment operator, and we want to we want to say my array dot shift, and then that should be it. So it should take away so what essentially it should do, it should take away this array, and then it'll assign this array to this variable, which in the future you can do a lot of cool things with that, and manipulate things that way going in the future. So I'm going to hit command enter, see if I passed. I did. I hit command enter again because I'm on a Mac. It may be control on a PC, but not totally sure. But on a Mac, command enter, and it'll run the test for you. So we went through shift. So it says not only can you shift elements off of the beginning of an array, you can also unshift elements to the beginning of an array, add elements in front of the array. So unshift works like push, but instead of adding the element at the end of the array, unshift adds an element at the beginning of the array. So they want us to add this array to the beginning of the myArray variable using unshift. So they already provided, it says, oh, never mind, this is what we basically did last time. So we want to change, let's see, it says we want to add, so we're gonna first set up my array, and then we want to use dot unshift, and we want to add that array to my array. So put Paul, and then 35. So we're going to add this array that has the values, the value string Paul and the value number 35. We're going to have that added to my array. And then I'm going to hit Command Enter, and that's correct. We're going to keep moving. So now it says shopping list. Create a shopping list in the variable myList. The list should be a multi-dimensional array containing several subarrays. The first element in each subarray should contain a string with the name of the item. The second element should be a number representing the quantity. So like this array has a chocolate bar, and then it has number 15. So there should be at least 5 subarrays in the list. Okay, so we have the variable named myList and its array. So it says create a shopping list in the variable myList. The list should be a multi-dimensional array containing several subarrays. So it says there should be at least 5 subarrays in the list. So let's see if we do this right. So I have an array. I'm going to say what's on my shopping list. We're gonna say gonna have a string. It's gonna be called popcorn because I like popcorn. And then it says the subarray should contain a string with the name of the item. Second element should be a number representing the quantity. So 1 bag will do. All right, I think that's good. So next, I am going to get, say, milk. Gotta make that a string because it's not a variable. And then I'm going to have 1 milk. Next, let's say chips. Make it a string, son. Chips. And I'll have 2 bags of chips. And next we have, I don't know, what's over there that I can think of. Oh, let's see, fruit. Or I'll just say apples. Then we'll have a dozen of those. And last, let's say eggs. And then, oh, I didn't make it an array. So I need to make it an array. Eggs. And then I'll say a dozen. So if we want to make it more readable, we can kind of get it spaced out like this. Right here, and now you can, it's a little bit more legible like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I hit Command Enter, we should be good to go. Command Enter. Yep, there we go. So next we have write reusable JavaScript with functions. So now we're going to learn about functions. So in JavaScript, we can divide up our code into reusable parts called functions. Here's an example of a function. So we have the actual the function. What do they call it? It's the name that you would use to create a function. Have to that doesn't sound right, but I mean the explanation is right, but there's a more technical term for it, and I'll hopefully have it next time. But so this is function, and then we have the name of the function is function name. And then in here, we're going to console log something. In order to see that, we have to invoke the function. Like it's saying here, you can call or invoke this function. And the way you do that is to put the function name, and then you have the two parentheses, or the parentheses, the opening and closing. And then that tells you to actually call this function and do whatever operation is in it. And currently the only operation is asking for us to console log hello world to the console. So what do we need to do? We need to create a function called reusable function, which prints hi world to the dev console. Call the function. So we need to create a function, and the function is called, so I'm gonna say function reusable function reusable function, and I am going to console log hi world in there. So we create, all right, now we're just creating a function. We named it reusable function, and then we're console logging hi world. That's it. In order for us to see that, we just have to invoke the function by writing out the name reusable function, and then have the opening and closing parentheses. And when you do that, you call the function, and when you hit Command Enter, there we go. That's functions are super simple. It's when you start doing more complex things within the function in order for you to do whatever you're trying to do within your application or your website. That's when it gets a little bit tricky on like truly understanding what's going on. But the base of a function is essentially that you have the function name is just holding some information that you want to either show or to give to another operation within the application. You can use functions for a lot of things. They become useful because they're reusable. But we're going to go to the next. We're going to go to the next problem. The next problem is passing values to functions with arguments. So we have parameters are values that act as placeholders for the values that are to be input to a function when it is called. When a function is defined, it is typically defined along with one or more parameters. The actual values are the input or passed into a function when it is called or known as arguments. So here is a function with two parameters, parameter 1 and parameter 2. And we have our function name, parameter 1, parameter 2, and then we're going to console log parameter 1, parameter 2. We just want to print that to the console. So when you call test fun, you give it those parameters that you want to display. So instead of saying hello world in the console, we can have it where our application receives some information, or we give it some information to display, instead of it being just kind of hard coded right here, that where it says hello world. Now we have it where we are like passing in some information, which it can be different. It can like in later episodes or later videos, we'll be able to see like how you can start to manipulate this and make it more dynamic. And this is how functions are become even more powerful than them just being reusable, components that you can use within your application. So it says we have passed two arguments, hello world. Inside the function, parameter 1 will equal hello, parameter 2 will equal world. Note that you could call test fun again with different arguments and parameters, and the parameters will take on the value of the new argument. So we have to create a function called function with args that accepts two arguments and outputs their sum to the dev console. So here we go. This will be our last problem that we take care of for the night. So here we go. We have, it's called function, and then it says function with args. There we go. And we want to console log what do we want to console log? It says create a function called function with args that accepts two arguments and outputs their sum to the dev console. So I want to say we'll just say num1, num2, and we'll console log num1, num2, and then what we'll do is I'll say num1 plus num2. So now we'll have we'll call this function, just call function with args, and what we'll do is we'll pass in the number 7 and the number 5, and what we should get is 12 in our console log. And let's see, when we run the test, let's see if this passes, and just to make sure we understand what's going on, we have a function, right? Have a function. Function name is function with args, which is arguments. The arguments that we have two arguments. The names of the arguments is num1 and num2. What we're going to do is console log num1 plus num2. So now we are going to call function with args, and we're going to give function with args two of those. We're going to give it the two parameters that it needs, which can be any number that we want. It can be whatever numbers we want this to be, but we want to pass it two numbers. And when we do that, command enter, we pass, because the solution ends up being 12. And then also how you know, I don't think I've gone over this, but how you know is that they also do some tests for you, and if those tests have like, so they ran a test on our function and they passed in different numbers. So 1 and 2 should output 3, 7 and 9 should output 16, and with ours it was 7 and 5, which should be 12. And when we did all of that, all of these tests passed because we did what what the function needed to do, and we passed correct arguments. They were numbers. They weren't strings or anything like that. And we gave it the correct amount of parameters, we gave it the correct amount of parameters. We didn't add another parameter in here, and it wouldn't have known what to do with the 8. We did exactly what was needed. So there we go, everybody. I hope this was explained well for everyone. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you as soon as I can. If I don't have the answer, I'll find it. But I want to thank you all again for joining me. I appreciate your time. I hope everyone is learning. I know I am. And I want you to continue to love your friends, love your family. You all love yourself. Take care. Peace.